no lives matter. This is a straight war, I'll be real with you. It's war, we're at war. This isn't like, they say there's no friends at war. So I respect the guy, as you said, he's done well, all that good stuff, but we're fighting.
To fight? Not as of yet, I'll be honest with you. I don't want to go get my head bashed in. Sparring is sparring, and we can see some sort of technicality being shown. Now, a lot of people are calling it fake. They're saying that it's set up.
Jared Anderson, Lawrence Okoli, some of the best the sport's got in the heavyweight division. And he said there's no way these guys are actually going in there and sparring to the full extent. Look, you're a fighter. You've had so many camps throughout your life. Do you think Jake is almost asking them to go easy, or do you think this is proper sparring going on?
The point of sparring is to learn. The point of sparring is not for them to get in there and give Jake a concussion so he can't fight.
Anthony Joshua has pushed back against claims surrounding Jake Paul's supposed knockout moments in sparring, suggesting the footage is misleading and overplayed. He explains that genuine sparring is balanced and demanding, not carefully edited to sell a narrative. Joshua says the real test will come inside the ring, where there's no room for exaggeration. Still, despite criticizing how the clips are presented, he maintains respect for Paul and recognizes him as a legitimate opponent.
As a boxer?
Yeah, definitely. He's always wanted to be a boxer. He's got a stand-up game. I respect him as a boxer.
Some analysts have pushed back against Jake Paul's sparring videos, suggesting the footage is edited to focus only on moments where he scores knockdowns. They believe releasing short, selective clips fails to show how the sessions truly unfolded or reflect his overall skill level. Critics argue that displaying at least 3 to 4 full rounds would offer a more balanced and honest evaluation. They also note that the sparring partner Paul dropped does not appear to be a highly experienced heavyweight, which could make those moments misleading. As a result, questions remain about how accurately these clips represent Paul's real preparation and whether his effectiveness against top-level fighters can be judged from such limited highlights.
The sparring videos, that I agree with that. If we're going to see that clip of you knocking this guy down, we want to see at least a full round. We want to see what you're actually doing. If you're going to show us knocking this guy down, show us more. Is his opponent any good? Okay, that's another very good question. His opponent may just be, and we couldn't really see much of him there. He didn't really throw a shot. His opponent might be a nobody. His opponent might be a guy who started box fit a few weeks ago. So that's a very good point. It's things like this we have to actually ask when we, boxers essentially putting up videos of them knocking people out. Who is this guy? You need to know that, because then that kind of qualifies that knockout or knockdown to be good or bad.
Andrew Tate has weighed in on Jake Paul's sparring sessions, arguing that the heavyweight partners are not going all out. He explains that sparring is meant for development and learning, but in these situations, the fighters appear to be holding back. Tate claims this is because they are being paid by Paul, making their priority completing the session rather than seriously testing him. As a result, the punches lack full power and the defensive pressure is noticeably lighter, reducing the realism of the exchanges. While Tate acknowledges that these sessions can help Paul practice techniques, he maintains they do not accurately simulate the challenge of facing a truly competitive, elite opponent.
I think that's everything wrong with the sport.
I think as a boxing purist, it's quite upsetting to watch, young fighters struggle to pay the bills and struggle in little shithole gyms around the country trying to get big money fights and going through the Olympics and going through the amateurs and not being able to pay their bills. And I understand how frustrating that can be. So I think that's where the frustration comes from. I don't think it's everything that's wrong with boxing. I think that anything that gets people to tune in to a boxing match is good for the sport.
One more comment that he said was, Jake's been sparring Frank Sanchez, Jared Anderson, Lawrence Okoli, some of the best the sport's got in the heavyweight division. And he said there's no way these guys are actually going in there and sparring to the full extent. Look, you're a fighter. You've had so many camps throughout your life. Do you think Jake is almost asking them to go easy, or do you think this is proper sparring going on?
The point of sparring is to learn. The point of sparring is not for them to get in there and give Jake a concussion so he can't fight. So are they trying to knock Jake out? No. But are they giving him enough work for him to learn?
Gareth A. Davies was direct when addressing Duke about Jake Paul, cautioning that Paul could end up fleeing the ring in panic. Referring to the brutal knockout he saw Francis Ngannou suffer, Davies emphasized that this matchup is far more dangerous for Paul than many people understand. He explained that facing an experienced heavyweight like Anthony Joshua brings a level of risk Paul has never dealt with before. In Davies' view, the seriousness of the challenge will become clear the moment the fight begins. turning this contest into a genuine test rather than a simple spectacle or media-driven event.
Riyadh, I watched him knock out Francis Ngannou inside 2 rounds.
Yeah.
How can that go 3 rounds with
Well,
Jake Paul?
It's very hard to knock out somebody that just hasn't come to fight and somebody that's just trying to survive. And that's what I think will happen to Jake Paul.
Do you think he'll run?
I think he'll run like a thief in the night. Once he sees the size of Joshua, those little 10-ounce gloves that they're going to be wearing, he's going to be petrified and his backside will fall out.
I went to the press conference in Miami for that a couple of weeks ago, and he was planning to motorboat AJ, and he thought differently of it when he was standing with him.
Good luck with that, mate.
No, AJ was, he'd have got motorboated out of there.
Listen, mate, listen. Good luck with that, because if he starts out with AJ, puts his chin out and starts trying to goad him in, I think Anthony Joshua will definitely iron him out early.
Do you think he finishes his boxing career then?
Let's hope so.
If Jake Paul does something weird and wins, is that impossible?
Nothing's impossible. Nothing is impossible. Highly unlikely, but not impossible.
If you'd been invited to fight Jake Paul for 25, I've heard it's 25 million. That's me behind the scenes. Other people have told me it's 60. Other people have told me it's more for Anthony Joshua. If you had been a current world champion and you'd been offered that fight with Jake Paul, would you have taken it?
100%.
So he had to take it.
He had to take
So
it.
you've got nothing against him taking it?
I've got nothing against him taking it, spending the money even. Still got nothing against that. My concern is for the health and safety of Jake Paul and the sport of boxing.
Because boxing will be pulled into the dock if something happens to Jake. It would never have been licensed.
Paul has openly spoken about how demanding his recent training has been. In interviews, he admitted that sparring with elite heavyweights has taken a physical toll on him, including suffering a nose injury. While the released sparring footage focuses on promotional highlights, it presents a more complicated picture than just the knockout clips Paul shares. Analysts who reviewed the sessions observed that some sparring partners seemed to overreact to his punches. In multiple moments, opponents drifted toward the ropes after relatively light shots, raising doubts about how authentic those highlights are. Observers warn that although the clips may look impressive to casual viewers, they do not necessarily prove readiness against a fighter with Joshua's level of experience and power.
Noses move a couple millimeters to this camp. I'm not gonna lie, this sparring, the heavyweights, my nose have a slight little something in there. A guy by the name of Frank Sanchez, he definitely cracked it a little bit. But yeah, man, it's bad. Wait, hold on. Look at that, dude. I'm like Squidward, dog. But don't respect me for getting in there. Respect me when I beat his ass. I'm not just walking into a fight. I'm going to win. That's what's gonna shock the world. I will become the king of boxing.
Analysts who reviewed Jake Paul's knockout sparring footage have questioned how genuine it really is. They noted that opponents often appeared to react far more dramatically than expected, at times drifting toward the ropes or corners after relatively light punches. These reactions create the illusion of control and dominance, but may not truly represent Paul's actual effectiveness inside the ring. By moving themselves out of position so easily, the sparring partners help produce highlights that make Paul seem more powerful than he might be against a top-level opponent. Commentators warn that while the footage works well for promotion, it should not be treated as clear evidence of Paul's readiness to face a seasoned heavyweight with real skill and experience.
And Logan, first of all, are fantastic athletes. You know what Logan does with the WWE and what Jake does with boxing, he knocks people out and everything. And they both have massive fan bases. And for me, it's great to see people get young people that follow them that didn't have they don't remember Ali or Joe Frazier or whatever. It's not in their wheelhouse. So it's great to see them developing fight fans and a big fight atmosphere. So it's very exciting.
These two stood face to face, and the comment section on the internet was going crazy. They were like, call the ambulance now, basically. Like Anthony Joshua looks dangerous standing next to him.
Anthony Joshua is, at this time, and has been for years, the biggest puncher in boxing. He's a devastating puncher. So I got to give Jake a lot of credit for wanting to take this fight.
Yeah, it's not. A lot of people saying it's not smart. If he somehow was able to surprise the world, what does this do for him?
The word would be surprised if he shocked the world. But that's exactly why you got to give him credit. He wants to do it. He trains hard, he works hard, and he has a lot of faith in himself. So we'll see what happens.
Technically, though, what's the biggest concern for you? What's the biggest tip you could give Jake, knowing that you've watched Anthony so many times?
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for what's coming next.